Good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark,
I'm Zoe.
and we are the Board Adventurers. We're back to you after PAX. One of us knows me. I went to PAX Unplugged only on the Saturday, so we're just gonna go over what it was like that day, and kind of what we brought back, or what I brought back. So I only went on the Saturday. I went with my wife and a couple friends came too. We showed up around 9 a.m. I'm just gonna go through the day for you. So we got in early. We drove in from Jersey. We got there around 9. We immediately went towards the to the AEG CGE room because we got. I was excited for trying to play SETI and see if there was a table available. There was like 3 or 4 tables already set up for SETI,
Nice.
and we were too late to play SETI. But we were like, okay, like maybe we'll see if we can come back, at another point. We didn't come back for that. So we just we just headed out. We went into the main hall. We were looking. We ended up on the far side of the hall, like on the north side of the hall. The expo and the play area, the free play area, seemed to have been a split because the free play area had like almost like barriers in between the expo and the free play, and I think they were lining up people for the expo specifically to go in at 10, whereas us at 9 o'clock were able to go right into free play and just start playing games.
Oh, nice.
Luckily for us, we ended up at the all play booth on that side. So there were 2 all play booths there. And we were able to sit down and get taught a game of River Valley Glassworks.
Okay.
It was a very surprisingly good game for what it was.
Nice.
So again, the idea of River Valley Glassworks is you have an animal and you're trying to get stones out of the river. You're doing so by you have a bag that has a stone off of a certain shape. You're putting that shape based out into the river based in the area where that shape is located. You're then going to take all the stones of an adjacent space. So you'll take all the stones in, and then you're going to sort it by color. So the color will then start to stack on each of the columns. And you're trying to build out rows and columns up for the most amount of points.
Nice.
And then I believe it's the 17th stone picked up by anybody will end the game. There's certain commonalities. So like the white stone and the pink stone are some of the more common ones, but you'll have like an orange stone that's like very rare to find. So you're trying to mitigate like what is your, you're not trying to get too many common, because if you exceed 5 of a color, they're all -3 for each one that you collect. So you're trying to avoid those later game also.
Gotcha.
So we did that. We enjoyed it. Then we started into the expo. No, we didn't go to the expo. That was later in the day. We started looking for the first play, and that was one of the few slightly confusing things that we had throughout the day, because typically in the past the first look area was also in the same hall. They had moved it to the 4th floor atrium, I believe. And on the map that they provided us, I didn't see, again, it was just a map I had with me. It didn't specify where that first look area was. So we ended up asking someone. The people there were very knowledgeable. They guided us upstairs to the 4th floor. So we got up there. That atrium was pretty nice. For that 4th floor, I didn't even know there was a floor up there you could go to. But it was a pretty decently sized space. I would say it's about the size of what the previous first look was like. And it was divided in half. So there was first look on one side and then the unpub on the other side. And I believe the unpub is those prototype games. So they're games that I don't think have been released or have a publisher or even have a set date for release yet, but they're just people are prototyping it. So we were wandering through the first look, and then we ended up sitting down for a game of Flatiron.
Wow.
So Flatiron, I believe, is the same designer as White Castle. The same Isra, and I forget the other name. Shay S.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry again if I totally forgot the name, but it was Shay and Isra, and they had designed the Flatiron game. So we sat down for a round. The rule book was a little iffy for us. We were having a lot of questions throughout that play. We figured out a lot of it, but there was still some things about some of the tokens that were just a little unclear for us.
It's in prototype?
No, it was already published.
Oh, wow.
So this I enjoyed it for a 2-player game. It gave me vibes of White Castle to some extent because I was trying to be as efficient as I could with my actions, and it did have the idea of that is that you have 4 different avenues, and you have an architect that can move one space away, so it can go between avenues and streets, and it can go to the city hall. It was very close until the very end of the game. But my, Jen, my wife, beat me because she's the only one that bought a City Hall card. That City Hall card gave her 15 points at the end of the game. Nice. We were tied at 47. I was like, I should have bought a City Hall card. That was heartbreaking. So then that was it. We wandered around. It was definitely a busy day. Saturday was in history, like in the past, has been PAX's busiest day. So we didn't want to go straight into the expo. We wanted to try to find as many games as possible to play before heading into the expo.
Yeah.
So we met up with friends right after we finished that game of Flatiron. We went downstairs to free play. We tried to look around for a 5-player game. We couldn't find one. We went downstairs and we ended up playing a game of Tribes of the Wind.
Oh.
Yeah, and Tribes of the Wind is an interesting enough game. It's like it has to deal with elementals, which again I particularly like elementals.
Yeah.
It deals with a lot of, you need to see what your opponents have on the backs of their cards because those elements can affect what you can play. And then you have your own board where you're trying to build out sites to then flip them over into villages. And if you've built 5 villages, that triggers the end of the game.
Yeah.
So when I play with my friends, I never seek to win games, and for good reason, because I never win games against my friends that we play with. I think they tripled the amount of points that I had.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's funny.
The way that I went, I was trying to eliminate all the pollution on my board, which again gives you points.
Yeah.
But I had, I think, only 2 villages built, which clearly should have been the way I was building. I should have been doing this game. And I didn't even get rid of all of my pollution. I still had 1 space that had pollution.
That's funny.
But it was a rough game. But I still enjoyed the mechanic of it. I'd like to see if I play a second time, how it goes, because there were 2 points in that game where it felt like I was just chucking. So there's a way you can discard cards to place a building out. I had to do that 2 straight turns because it felt like I couldn't play anything based on what my neighbors had. Because my neighbors, I think some of the cards said I need to have more yellow than my neighbors. I only had 1 yellow, and there was 1 yellow on each side. So again, you have to have at least over that, or you can't have equal. But Tribes of the Wind was pretty good. I think it's worth another playthrough.
Cool.
Very solid. So then we finally, at that point, once we finished that game, we went into the expo. The expo was packed. There was people all over shopping for games, demoing games, walking around with suitcases, probably chock full of games, and also there was a guy with a huge wagon.
A wagon.
That wagon was a little bit monstrous.
People came to spend money.
There was there was not a lot of movement around that wagon. Traffic definitely got blocked around that wagon. But while we were wandering there, I did see a couple board game reviewers nice. As I was wandering through, and they were kind of in the midst of moving to another location, so I didn't want to try to bother them if I could. But I think I saw Dwayne. His name is Dwayne from Blackboard Gaming.
Nice.
He was wandering around with a suitcase. And then I saw Jeremy Howard
Oh, good stuff.
from Man vs. Meeple. He was also on his way, briskly walking to, I believe, his next demo. But it's really cool to kind of see like the bigger YouTubers out there. It's like wow, these are just everyday people, also just here buying board games and trying them out too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So we started wandering through the halls, and we ended up at the op booth. The op booth had a game called Take 7, I think it's called.
Take 7.
Yeah, it's a push your luck game where they deal out a card to you and it has a number on it, or a card with an effect. And then it's like kind of like blackjack. So everyone goes around and it goes back to you, and you can choose to play another card. And then if that card is the same number as the one you have, then you're out of the round. You're trying to keep drawing cards that are of different values, so that when you decide to freeze, if at any point, you just get all the points that are on your cards.
Yeah.
There's special cards that freezing. It freezes any person at the table. There's like a +2. It adds 2 to the total. There's a multiply 2 that multiplies your score. So we played a round of it just to see how it goes. It was pretty fun. It was for like a very simple kind of like card game.
Yeah.
It's like one of those games where like I would think maybe a group that's not really into board games or like card games by that matter would like to possibly play it.
This is blackjack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. And then finally, so just going through, we stopped by the Oink Games booth, and we did play their new game, Souvenirs from Venice.
Okay.
So it's like a memory game. So it's like a grid of like 8x8 little tiles.
Yeah.
You flip one over, and then you're moving your gondola between the tiles like a river, and you're trying to get to a location. You're trying to collect the tile.
Gotcha.
And then you're trying to get back to the airport with the highest amount.
Okay.
It was okay. I wonder how it would feel with more players. But it was pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Then finally, before we kind of headed out of the expo hall, we actually left early because we had to wait to get back to our child. We stopped by the Arcane Wonders booth and we demoed the game that I ended up buying. So the first game that I'm just gonna go into what we bought. So the first game that we bought here is Ito.
Wow.
So this is a card game that was on my radar for a while. I had heard so many good things about this. Jen's family is a fan of the Mind and Fun Facts. This is kind of a combination of the two, I would think. So the idea is that you get you have a prompt, right? So like say the prompt is, what is the, like ways to spend a lottery winning, right? And then it'll say 0 is the worst and 100 is the best. They're going to take this deck now of 1 to 100 and you're going to deal out a card to everybody. Then you're going to look at your card, say my number is like 92 and yours is like 5. You're then trying to give a description for that number in terms of the lottery winning, which is the best way to spend the money and the worst way. So your 4 for the worst might be, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, gamble it at the casino.
Yeah.
And then I might be like, oh, maybe what I'll do is I'll invest in stocks or something like that. Yeah. So then as you're placing it, you're trying to, get the right order. We played a round of it and it kind of hit exactly what I thought it would hit.
Nice.
And so I went out and bought it. I think there was only like 100 copies left when I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is, this is definitely coming out in the next one, at the next board game meetup with our group.
Good stuff.
I'm a sucker for Plaid Hat. Summer Wars is a game I will always come for, and we got 2 more packs. Well, I got 2 more packs. These are 2 packs that I was missing. So this is the Storm Goblins. So these are like a more. I think they create a shockwave through an amount of players that go through it, and this is the one that I was actually looking for, the Shimmer Sea Fae, because I believe that the summoner is almost like a glass cannon type of summoner. She wants to get in and try to damage people because she can heal from it too.
Oh, that's cool.
there was a chart there of all of the released packs that they had, and I realized I was missing 4 of them, 4 more than these, because 2 more had came out in the past like 2 months.
You gotta go hunting.
I was tempted to buy all 6, but I was looking at Jen's face as I was buying 2 of them. And I had to stop there. So
your limits.
2 is the limit that I go with. These are the Summoner Wars expansion packs.
Nice, good stuff.
All right. I honestly, this is a very low buy packs for me. Usually it would go 3 days, and I'd buy at least one thing on those days. So because this was one day, I had to compress it all into one. All right, so the 4th thing that I got, so I was wandering the halls, I guess, or the expo places, and sometimes they're set up as like there's areas that have stores that just sell varying games. This is a game that I had recently heard of, and I was very interested in trying it's a cooperative game. I was very interested in buying a set of it and just trying it out. This is Kinfire Delve. Kinfire Delve Callus Lab. I think I saw. Who did I see?
You were just telling me about this.
I think I saw Monique and Naveen from Before You Play run through a whole scenario of this. And typically, I don't like playthroughs. I don't like watching people play games. But co-op games are a little bit different. I'll watch to see how it plays. I sat through the whole thing for this because it just seemed very interesting the way the mechanics work. And as I was walking and I saw this on the shelf, I was like, this wouldn't be that bad to buy. I could just take this. Yeah, and it was on the cheaper side. I think it was like only $20.
Nice.
So I was like, I'm gonna try this out. So this is Kinfire Delve Callus Lab.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And the last game is the only big purchase that I really had the entire con, that entire day. And I'm going to cycle back to the very beginning where we started at CGE. Because before we left, we went back to CGE. And I decided to buy SETI. SETI was a game that I was very interested in buying. I've heard so much about SETI. I'm a huge fan of CGE games whenever any one of them comes out. Arnak, I love Arnak. Deal with the Devil was a little weird, but I did like what's the other one they had? They had Starship Captains was pretty good when I played it.
Ooh, I want to get
and some of their like lighter word games too. Like I think they came out with code names. Yeah, Trap Words I believe is under them. Those are all like very solid word games.
Yeah, I like CG.
But I've heard stuff about SETI. I could not get away from SETI. I knew before I left I had to come back and get SETI. Nice. We are going to table this hopefully in the next year. Our schedules are crazy. Like he just had 2 more kids. Yep. It's gonna be a fun year. We don't know if it's gonna take the table, but we're gonna try. So this is SETI.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, and that is all the games that I get. Usually, I go pretty hard at PAX.
This was a good haul, though. All these are definitely games worth getting and tabling.
I think so too. I think they are games that I believe our group would function well with. Agreed. We have tried out similar games of this type with them. SETI, I think, will be the one that'll be like the hardest to table.
Yeah, I think Ito is gonna be.
I think Ito will be good. I think. I think that's gonna be a hit. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's PAX. We heard for next year actually it's going to be a little earlier in the year now. So if it's before Thanksgiving, that might actually work out better for some of us.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that is our PAX 2024 overview and what we bought. Let us know if you were at PAX. If you saw me. I don't know. Like I doubt it. I highly doubt you did.
Or what you guys purchased.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Cool to know. Yeah. I love hearing what people bought.
Yeah.
What people there was definitely some games that I wish I had gone out and bought, and I
Really?
looked for. Well, we didn't. We went through maybe about. We went really quickly through the expo hall. We went maybe about 25 to 50% of the hall.
Yeah.
I wanted to stop by the other all play booth because I totally forgot about Message from the Stars.
I was gonna ask when you were talking about River Glass. I was like, did you play Message from the Stars?
I totally forgot about Message from the Stars. And that's the one that's gonna kick me.
Yeah,
because I wanted to play it.
That might be one of the games that I'll just go out and get. That seems like it's gonna be really works really well with our group.
Yeah.
Oh, especially for me.
I think you would like it too. I really think you would.
Yeah, that's like what the best deduction game this year. Oh, I got.
Yeah, it got rated really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost backed that game too.
So close. There's too many games out there.
I know.
There's not enough time to play. You don't see this, but on the other side of this camera, you're gonna see all the games we've got from this year that we haven't played yet.
I know.
We're just trying. We're trying to stay ahead of it. We are. But we'll see what happens in the next year. We'll play more games.
100%.
But yeah, that's everything. We are the Board Adventurers. I'm Mark.
I'm Zoe.
We'll see you at the next PAX Unplugged.